Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Mental Health Hour. Welcome to episode 80. Tonight, wherever you are, we'll be discussing the 12-step program, something near and dear to my heart, something I've worked, and we will get into that a little bit. But first, Gemma, how are you this fine week?
Um, De-stressing after a rather stressful hour of tech issues and things like that. Yeah, let me know if the slow mode is fixed. I've noticed that. Um,
This
but
says you've enabled followers only mode.
what? What?
I don't know. You got some goofy shit going on in the chat.
Hang on. Let me fix. I don't know what is going on here. Oh, here we go.
Gemma's been
Slow mode
plagued.
options. No.
Gemma's been plagued with all the technical
I haven't
difficulties.
actually touched anything. Like I really haven't. But all
Maddie's
I
got
have
it
to
under
do is
control.
breathe near technology and it decides to go tits up. So, switch to
Yeah.
non-mod setting. Oh,
Yeah.
hang on.
Maddie's got it fixed. We're good.
Oh, have you done it? Okay, cool.
We are good. So, now technical workshop. Anytime. Anywho,
Literally
where were we?
anything at all that could go wrong in a single half hour of tech stuff. I had no sound, no mic, no video. The video, honestly, and then it decides to follow over to Twitch. So anyway, it's all looking good. I am going to refrain from touching anything, so I can't fuck it up, basically.
Well, there you have it. Well, that's good because you got to help me host this show. So
Good luck.
we'll leave the chat to Ray and
It
Hattie.
can only go up from here, right? Oh,
Yes.
geez.
Anyway, let's bring it back to center. It's good to see everybody here tonight. Yes, we are discussing the 12-step program, and I wanted to keep it open. Of course, the 12 steps was founded with Alcoholics Anonymous, and worked wonders for years back since back in the 1800s. However, the 12 steps have since grown to any insert addiction or recovery process here. The 12-step program they found works for more than just alcoholism, and recovery from alcoholism. So the 12 steps, we're going with the 12-step program versus the 12 steps of AA, which is what I worked. Now, from topic to topic, or from addiction to addiction, the 12-step program has been refined or rephrased from what the basis was from Alcoholics Anonymous. We're going to go over what I think I found a baseline. Actually, come to look at it now, this says it might be for NA, Narcotics Anonymous, but it is all the same information, and I can kind of go over if anything is different from what we do in AA versus what they are doing in NA. There's Overeaters Anonymous. There's anything potentially you could think of anonymous recovery programs out there that you can either search the web or get in contact through counseling, etc. While the 12-step program is great and it is like a beautiful foundation for the road to recovery, it does not work by itself. Well, first of all, obviously, you have to be willing to work the steps. You have to then actually work the steps. and it helps to understand the steps that you're working to work them properly. But then outside of that, you also need to do some other things, um, which is everything. Everybody's road to recovery is different. If you are on a road to recovery or looking to get on a road to recovery, it is always going to be catered to yourself. Chris Scales, music in the house. Everybody say hello to our good friend I met back in the Haps days. Many of you know him from earlier platforms as well. Chris, good to see you. Glad you could stop in. Um, but yes, so the 12 steps is kind of what we're going to be going over tonight, just the program itself. But then, we'll get into some of the other things that need to be taken into account for or worked or done. And these are the things that can vary depending on your road to recovery or maybe a family member's. Gemma, do you have anybody in your life that has worked the 12-step program or?
Yeah, they did sort of. It was. I feel like it was kind of like that for my eating disorders. So
You've kind of given it a once over.
yeah. And then I have a good friend that also went to AA meetings and did that. It was actually when I sent you a picture of the coin thing that she had to see if it was the same as over there. And yeah, they do. Yeah, that's it. I think she got her. I think it was a 5-year one. But yeah, it's very much the same over here with the 12-step program.
Indeed.
If it works well, then why not?
It works if you work it.
Yep.
That's kind of a mantra of the program. The 12-step program works if you work it. And it really does. Going into AA, I was nervous. I was skeptical because I had tried stopping prior to, but I wasn't stopping for me. I was stopping for everybody else, and I wasn't ready to take the first step, which is the biggest step. I like to think. Now, again, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, the first step was probably the hardest. The first step is admitting to yourself that you have a problem and that your life has become unmanageable. The way you're working your life, the way you're living is not working. You're either on a road to trouble, jail, death, hospitals, etc. Um, Michael Joseph Murray says, I didn't work the 12 step, didn't need it. February 10th, 2014 is his date of sobriety. That's awesome. Not everybody does it. And
Oh
that
wow!
Michael brings up a great point. This was kind of like what I was saying at the beginning. Like everybody's road to recovery is different and very different and unique to them. Whatever works for them. Not everybody does AA. There's other programs out there. Some people stop cold turkey. I was unable to do these things. I needed to go to rehab, uh, and then I needed something after rehab to keep going. This show is one of those things. Um, this show is part of you could, and when we go over the 12 steps, you'll see step 12 very clearly states what this show is all about: sharing your experience, strength, and hope with others. And this is step 12 work for me. This is step 12, not just work for me, but it helps me um, stay on top of everything, stay on top of these subjects, these not so easy to talk about things, stay on top of my sobriety. Everything goes into this show for several different reasons. Not to mention, it's just a lot of fun to do this show. Um, So we will get into a little bit more um, of that. But for those new listeners and for those that listen on the replay or on any of our podcasting, which I am aware that I am pretty behind on. I haven't really had a second to update the podcasts with the last 3 episodes, but I will get on that, I promise. However, um, if you are new to the show, new to the podcast, um, I have been going through the past 2.5 years. June 16th will be 3 years of sobriety for me. And I was a uh, very functional alcoholic by every sense of the word. And it started affecting my health. Um, I developed pancreatitis with necrosis. I was hospitalized 3 different times for about 30 days between the 3 stretches. And then I wound up um, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to stop on my own. The doctors had even told me this is going to kill you, um, and it did not sink in. It did not cease the behavior. Um, so once I got to the point where I realized that I was choosing the bottle over my own life, and I didn't want that, that's when I decided that I needed the help. That's when I guess, really completed that first step, or got on the path of that first step, admitting to yourself and to everyone else that you have a problem, that your life has become unmanageable. Um, so, along with a 12-step program, uh, or I'm jumping a little ahead. Let me just finish up that little brief synopsis. I did 44 days in an inpatient rehab center designed around firefighters. Um, that my union, the IAFF, actually has for us nationwide. Everybody can come. It's actually right here where in my state, so I didn't have to go far. But I stayed there for 44 days, and I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my mental health. I learned a lot about why potentially um, all of this drinking was occurring. And most importantly, I learned how to uh, cope with these things and how to manage these things better in a way that I didn't turn to the bottle all the time anymore or feel the need to. And got myself to that point where I realized that my life is worth what, living, and that I want to be here. Um, and that I needed more help than I could give myself. So essentially, that's what step one is. Without spoiling the rest, I'm sure everybody has heard of the 12-step program. Um, but that being said, um, when I got out of rehab, the work was far from done. Um, I could very easily slip back into it. It feels like as days go by, things get a little bit easier to not fall back. One thing being, I am a very competitive, or I have a competitive personality, and I don't want to see my 2.5 year streak just vanish. So there's that.
Mhm.
Also, of course, my life. I don't want to die. Um, that was a big thing because for a while I was questioning that, and it's not a suicidal tendency or anything. I didn't want to actively do anything to myself, but I wasn't going to stand in the way of something happening. Um, it's called a passive death wish, I learned. But anyway, that's another show. Um, so anyway, moving forward, rehab is just a beginning. Um, Now I'm home. I'm out of that protective bubble. I'm back into the real world. I'm back to work. I'm, this, that, and the other. And I needed to do some continuing education, continuing program, AA was my niche. That's what I got into. It was the only thing I really knew. Um, there are other programs out there. There's a program called Smart Recovery, and it continues from there. Um, but working the 12 steps was my next step, and getting a sponsor, that was also huge. And Penelope is joining us now.
Why not?
I will. I will. I had kind of reached the end of my uh, short story in the beginning. For the new listeners, for the new people coming in, who are these people? That's kind of my story.
Mhm.
Now, to start by going over some of the 12 steps, um, we can start looking at some slides. I'm going to go give her a binky and get her situated. Um, but after that, we'll have some chat and we'll look at some comments. So please keep typing in the comments. I have not missed them yet, so just give me a quick sec. Gemma, please take her away.
Yeah, let me open it up on my phone so I don't have to get crazy close to the camera. Okay, so the 12 steps. So step 1, we admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. So that's step 1. And with this, it has to be you that wants to do this. You have to want it for yourself, otherwise it's never really going to work. Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Admitted to God, ourselves, and to another human being that the exact nature of our wrongs. Were entirely ready to have God remove all these. Oops, I've just closed it down. Have these defects of our character. Humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them. Step 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact as we understood God, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry that out. Step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the results of these steps, we tried to carry I'm going to zoom in, this message to other addicts and practice these principles in our affairs. Sorry, that was really quite difficult to read. I have to zoom
That's
in.
okay. So these steps were the foundation for AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And as I said, they've since transformed into any addiction recovery. So that being said, like, let's just run through real quickly. Step 1, like I said, is the tough one. It was for me, one of the hardest ones. It's hard for anybody to admit that they have a problem. It's hard for anybody to admit they need help, especially a stubborn ass mule like myself. Uh, there is just so much that entails, and so much pride that you have to swallow. It felt like, at the end of the day, I don't feel like I did it all, but at the beginning, it was like, yeah, you got to swallow your pride and really get into this. Um, 2 and 3 um, is all about finding that, higher power. And everybody thinks or a lot of people think that AA and the likes is all a very religious thing. It may have started that way, but it is not. There is even a chapter to the agnostic. Um, this is for everyone. A higher power or a God of your understanding, uh, or as you understand God. That could be your dog. That could be a tree out back. Uh, whatever your higher power is, whatever you are doing this for, and whatever is helping you get through, that is your higher power. It does not have to be God, um, as the Christian man or woman perceives it. Nobody is telling you what religion to follow or anything. Now, that being said, these steps do mention God quite a bit, um, but it is God, as step 3 says, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand God. Uh, that leaves the door open for everybody. J Opera, good to see you. Sorry if I've missed Ace the Grim Reaper. That's fine. Sorry for not commenting much. I am just listening. That's excellent. Everybody is welcome to lurk, but if you do have something to share, please feel free to. That being said, let me go back up here and look at some comments. I think my husband might be an alcoholic. He drinks every day, all day, and he gets very mad at me. We arranged marriage and no allows to family will leave me. Not sorry, English is not good. That's okay. I get the gist of what you're saying. Um, so this brings up another interesting point. Can we call somebody else an alcoholic? Um, you can certainly see signs and symptoms that point in that direction for sure. Um, you can see tendencies, behaviors, and the like. But it ultimately falls on that person, the alcoholic, to come to terms with whether or not they're an alcoholic. Because you can't, I learned that you can't help somebody else. I learned from being in their shoes. I would not accept help from anybody else because I didn't think I had a problem until I was ready to succumb to step 1. Not succumb, that's a bad word. But until I was ready to work step 1 and understand step 1, I was unhelpable. I wasn't going to hear anything of it. Um, but certainly, you can always refer people, uh, to some help. Maybe point them in some direction. But just understand, it may not be uh, what they want to hear, and it may not be helping them in a way. It helps, but it may not uh, provide the results that you hope until that person is ready to be helped. Um, Drinking can also put a higher risk of cancer. Absolutely. There's so many different health risks that you introduce when it's a toxin. Um, my drinking was self-medicating, was in a very toxic marriage. Yep. Toxic places and people tend to bring out the drinking more. It's how we self-medicate. It's how we hide. It's how we isolate, detach, all of these things. So yes, and then Michael says step 5 can be a hurdle for some due to their non-religious beliefs, and I hope I covered that a little bit. Um, Step 5: admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So step 4 is when you're making that inventory of yourself. There was 4 different inventory sheets that I had to work through. Okay, and you're basically writing down all of your wrongs and resentments and such towards others. And then step 5 is admitting to God or your higher power, God as you understand it, as step 3 says. Admitting to your higher power, to ourselves, and to another human being. That other human being can be anyone. Most of the time, it's usually your sponsor. A sponsor is just as what's the word? Just as important. A sponsor is
Mm-hmm.
getting a sponsor and finding a sponsor. It's just as important as working these 12 steps because they're the ones that help you work the steps and they help you understand the steps. And just overall, a sponsor is the one you can turn to always for these things. TJ, South USA, if I missed you earlier, good to see you. Um, let's see, where were we here? Um, entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. That's just ready to clean the slate, clean up your side of the street, as they say in AA. We're looking to clean up our side of the street. What does that mean? I'm not here to say I had a problem with Gemma and we had a falling out or something because of my drinking, etc. Now that I'm making amends to Gemma, I'm not asking. I'm here to apologize to Gemma for my actions and my bullshit. I'm not here to say I'm sorry for what I did, Gemma, but you're kind of a blah blah blah, and you need to do this and you need to do that. That's not how this works. You're here to clean up your side of the street. If she wants to take it upon herself to, say, I'm also very sorry for this, that, and the other, but we're not coming to expect that. We're here to clean up our act, right? Clean up our side of the street. Step 8 and 9 are the list of the people that you harmed, resented, and caused any trouble to with your lists in step 4. You're making a list of those people that you did wrong, and then 9, you're actually going out and making amends. You're making the apologies. But the important thing to remember there is the last line there, except when to do so would injure them or others. We're not looking to put harm onto you or yourself. I mean, you or them, etc. If it would cause more issue than more bad than good, take a look at it. Talk to your sponsor about it and see what can be done. And then 10, 11, and 12 are the maintenance steps, as they call them. After you do your inventory and make your amends, you have to maintain that. Now, you're going to live the rest of your life, right? Hopefully a sober rest of your life. And to do that, we need to stay on top of these cleanups that we just did. We just cleaned up our side of the street. Now it's time to keep it clean. That's why the 10 and 11 and 12 are there, because when problems do arise, which they will, we understand that life doesn't stop because we're sober. Problems still arise, resentments still occur, and bad vibes still present themselves. It's recognizing them now and then continuing to make amends, staying on top of it, not letting all that garbage pile up again. We've already cleaned it. Let's keep it clean, essentially. 12 is the biggest one there as far as moving forward. It's having had the spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. Carry this message to other addicts and practice these principles in all our affairs. Sharing your experience, strength, and hope. Sharing your story, sharing your message, sharing how you became sober or how maybe you're not becoming sober, like maybe you're in like Overeaters Anonymous or something, and you just how you overcame. How did you do this? Because maybe Gemma is looking at these 12 steps like I can do this too. How did you do it? Well, here's how I did it. Here's what I did. That's called being a sponsor. Being a sponsor is great. Step 12 work. Take another under your wing. Doing this show is step 12 work. Sharing our experience from our different mental health obstacles is how Gemma and I have come to do some step 12 work. And that being said, Gemma, what can you add? I've kind of been hogging the spotlight here tonight.
Oh, you're fine. This is one of those episodes like I've had some where I'm more familiar with. This is one for you. But like I said in the comments before, I think it was talking to Michael, no amount of anyone telling you that there's a problem, whatever it is, alcohol or anything else, no amount of anyone telling you there's a problem and you need to get help will achieve anything. It's something that you have to want to do. You have to know there's a problem and you have to be willing to take it on and deal with it. Because if you're doing it because there's somebody's told you to, or there's a court order or something that is making you do this, you're not going to be successful if you aren't ready for it. So you can go to all these meetings, go through it all, and the chances are you're going to not be successful with it because you have to know that there's a problem, you have to see that there's a problem, and you have to be willing to deal with it yourself. And I've seen, I had, it was actually an ex-partner from many years ago. He was an alcoholic before we met and had been sober for 2 or 3 months. I didn't realize at first he was an alcoholic. 2 or 3 months he'd been sober when we really started seeing each other, started drinking again heavily. Turns out he'd been ordered to go to AA because he'd lost his driving license due to drink driving. And he'd been told he had to go to AA meetings. Apparently it's the third time he'd been. It was only very early days. We broke up because of it all, and it was just a complete nightmare to be with. So we didn't last very long. And I found out a couple of years ago that he died from cirrhosis of the liver. So, he was just like, because he had to go to the AA meetings because he lost his license because he'd been caught drink driving, and then he'd been caught again driving without a license. It was just constant. And I know over here they will order you to do things like that. If you're caught drink driving and things like that, especially repeat offenders. And I don't think it works telling them to go to it. Like, yeah, okay, they're going to go to it if they're made to by law or whatever, but it's not going to work. Not if they don't see that there's a problem themselves.
Yeah.
No, it's sad. It's hard.
It looks like TJ is also dealing with some cirrhosis of the liver, but non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver.
I know, we spoke. He's in my prayers. I hope they can do something for you, TJ. But
so Jay is
are
also asking about the recreational use of pot addictive. I guess anything could be an addiction. Certainly. I've kind of learned that as well. Anything can be an addiction. I have a very addictive personality. I filled the void of addiction to alcohol with other addictions without really knowing it. I got addicted to doing puzzles, jigsaw puzzles. While that sounds like more of a healthy addiction than drinking yourself into a stupor every day, it certainly shows the power of the mind in a way. How something that makes you feel good, I guess, is just I want to exploit that, and I want to get that. I want to get more of that. So, yeah, I think anything can be an addiction, whether it be harmful or not.
Like caffeine or sugar, anything. I think you can be addicted.
But yeah, the medical use for it is, I think, why we're seeing it become legalized everywhere. Jim in Chicagoland, who was here earlier, he is a great one to talk to on that.
It's still very much illegal here. However, there are very extreme circumstances where it can be prescribed now. They are starting to go there with it and believe that like you couldn't just have it on you, because like if somebody who wasn't prescribed it had it on them, they can like have it confiscated. I think depending on how much you have on you, you can be arrested and things. But
Sure.
it
Yeah.
is in very, very certain circumstances prescribed, as a prescribed drug. And yeah, like talking of addiction and things, even like prescribed medications and things can be addictive. I know myself. So yeah, anything can be addictive.
Right. So let's take a quick look at this slide here. I don't know if we'll hit all of them because there's a lot to say on just the first slide. Anyway, this is important to kind of realize, though. If Gemma, you can run through. Start at the top.
Yeah. So the continuum of care cycle. That was one.
Continuum.
Recovery fellowship, intervention, detox, PHP, residential, ILP or OP, sober living, aftercare, and alumni.
Alumni.
Yeah.
This is a great continuum or circle of intertwined rings. Not everybody hits everything. I guess I could have benefited from an intervention, but I never reached the point of a intervention by my peers. But what are the rest? I mean, I definitely detoxed in the hospital for sure. It helped being on painkillers for my pancreas failing, but definitely detox is a step in any addiction recovery. PHP, pre-hospital. Shit, I forget what the other P is. Program, or residential. That's your inpatient care. Your in-house rehab, inpatient rehab, and then IOP or OP is outpatient, intensive outpatient or outpatient care. Sober living is a community of all your AAs and your there's sober living homes. You can get involved with a group home of sober folks that live together. And aftercare or alumni is after you've graduated your rehab program, and it's all a matter of the aftercare, the self-care, and the continuing of these steps. This is where your 12 steps fall into: sober living and aftercare, your AA program, and this creates the recovery fellowship. So that's just I liked this slide. I thought it was great to kind of show what I was talking at the beginning, where rehab isn't for everybody. It was definitely for me, but that's not it. That's only one ring in the 6 or 7 other ones. There is much more work to be done. That being said, the residential treatment, this kind of goes over what that was. The residential treatment is the extent. This is your PHP or inpatient treatment, your inpatient rehab. Extended stay provides space, 0 distractions. Like I said earlier, I was in a bubble, a protective, sober bubble. I was locked in. It was even COVID time, so there was no getting out. And there was no alcohol, there was no drugs, there was nothing. You're there to work on you. No distraction, no cell phones, no social media, none of that shit. It's just you and your sobriety. Outpatient treatment obviously is for those that don't need the inpatient rehab. Sober living community, as I said, that's like your AAs, your group homes, your whatever you choose, your smart recovery. And then partial hospitalization program. Sorry, not pre-hospital. Partial hospitalization program is your daytime treatment. Um, there was a part of my inpatient rehab, which was PHP. I was still there inpatient, but my schedule was a lot more relaxed as far as how much group therapy I was doing and work on the program. There was more downtime, if you will, and I was able to have a little bit more free time. If it wasn't COVID times, I probably could have actually gone off of the campus um, for a weekend or something. And then, yeah, that should cover this stuff. Finally, here, the benefits of accountability with addiction recovery is just owning your addiction, self confidence, express when you're struggling, and find that steady support. Um, you have to take accountability for yourself. This all falls into step one, taking accountability, and get your new perspective on recovery. Again, all of these slides tonight and from every episode are available in our Discord. Hattie has been nice enough to drop that throughout the stream. Feel free to join in the fun. Our Discord is a great community of folks from the show and other folks that maybe listen to the podcast that jump in. We got to find a way other than just the opening intro credit thing or synopsis on the podcasting site for the Discord. There's no way to kind of flash links up during the show, so we'll have to figure something maybe that can work during listening to the podcast. But if you are listening on Spotify or any of the podcasting sites, there is a link to our Discord and our bio link provided in the little blurbs that we write up about each episode of the show. That should be in every single one of them. Being called to the dinner table. Thanks, everyone. Send love and hope. Good to see you, Jay, Opera, and we'll catch you on the next week or so. They have caffeine-free.
Enjoy your dinner, Jay. Bye for now.
Yep. Enjoy your dinner. Yes, there's non-caffeinated brands of all your major sodas and pops. Annie Walker asked, what is Discord? Discord, let me see if I can do this. That is a great question. So Discord is an app that you can download on your phone. It's a social media site, but it's an invite-only kind of platform. And it's a little different than your standard Facebook or any of that nonsense. I don't really get down with Facebook and any of that, but Discord seems kind of more like a gated community, if you will, as far as social media goes.
Yeah.
It allows us a place to get our show across. So let me see here if I can present.
Yeah, it's very much a safe space as well where people can share things. Definitely zero tolerance for anything. Anything that's not appropriate, really. Like, I think
this here is
quite lucky.
My Discord. So this is for the Mental Health Hour. Over here, you have all the channels that you're a part of. I'm sorry, over here, you have all the channels you're a part of. The Mental Health Hour is the one that we are currently on. And then over here, you have all the different categories. So in case you missed it, there's episodes from the past, show suggestions. We let people come in and give us some ideas. You can talk to our team members here. And then there's some admin stuff for us, but broadcast announcements, basically just news feeds and help them out sites that we can post to our community that basically follow the show here. So that's a quick look at it, Annie. I hope that helps. You can download it on any iOS or Google Play, um,
Mm.
and there is a website for it as well, discord.gg, I think it is. But if you just type in
Yeah.
Google Discord, uh, it'll come up for you. But the link that Hattie has posted is specifically an invite to our Discord community, which will in turn open this world of our community to you. So it's one of our favorite communication platforms while not on the air or on the show.
Yeah,
Uh,
I definitely need to post some more stuff in there. I've got loads that I keep saying I'm going to put in, but life's just been a bit chaotic at the moment.
and that's understandable.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm a bit behind on updating the podcast itself and getting those new episodes on the YouTube and the podcast. But I will have time here, I hope, within the coming weeks to sit down and do some editing. That's what's got me pretty much at a standstill right now. Is I don't have time to sit down and do the editing that I normally do. Um, however, things should slow down here at the Conrad house, and I'll get back on top of it. But anyway, we have let's see. We are through all that. Oh, I did want to go over before we get out of here and all that because we are coming up. We still got another like 10 minutes or so, but take a quick look at this. The it's a little rough to see um, because it's so big, but I will be posting this one as well in the Discord if you want to take a look at it. Because a lot of you had asked about diagnosing a substance abuse disorder. Um,
Yeah.
this is this is from recoveryanswers.org. Um, this is their rundown on different things to look out for. Number one, the amount. Take the substance in larger amounts for longer than intended. Number two is control. The want to cut down or quit but are unable to. I have certainly expressed before rehab and stuff the want to not drink as I'm pouring a drink. you know, um, it's like it's a weird game of chess with your brain. Like my body does not physically want to drink, but my brain is having me pour a drink.
Mm.
Uh, Number three is time. Spend large amounts of time obtaining the substance. That was another red flag. When COVID hit and everything was locked down, uh, my wife and I can have a laugh at it now, but I was more worried about what the liquor stores were going to be doing rather than anything else, you know.
Mm.
Cravings, that's self explanatory. Obligations, um, repeatedly unable to carry out major obligations at work, school, or home, just falling short on your duties and letting it affect your work or your home life. Social, same thing. Activities, you'll notice a decline in activity. Hazard, using the substance becomes physically hazardous, such as driving under the influence, causing harm to others or yourself. Your tolerance is building. Number 10 is tolerance, building a tolerance, and surpassing that tolerance at times. And then withdrawals, of course, are also a notable thing. If you're noticing, like with alcohol, I know I used to get the shakes, um, until I could get a little bit more in my body. I don't know. Mine were never out of control, but you'll see, you can see videos of some people that are withdrawing that are just very bad.
Mm.
So then at the bottom there, it gave kind of a mild, moderate, or severe. How many of these do you hit? And this, of course, like this show, we are not professionals. We are just sharing our experience, sharing our strength and hope. Um, this list is not a diagnostic tool. Um, it's merely a tool to help assess a situation. and maybe get further information based on the conclusions of this kind of survey, if you will. This is not a diagnostic tool, and this is not, even though it says diagnosis of a substance use disorder, Gemma and I are not telling you that if you hit these criteria, you are severely addicted to something. Not the case at all. I want to make that perfectly clear. This is just a tool to kind of gauge you or a loved one or whatever, as many of you have been asking about how to diagnose a substance use disorder. There's no way to actually diagnose it without medical advisement, but you can certainly take a look at these things and kind of make red flags in your own way, and then choose to step forward from that and research further or seek help further if you so desire. So I did want to make that perfectly clear. This is just something that we found to go over, as some of you were asking about that. Something to kind of take a look, and I will post this in the Discord. You can see it a little bit more clearly. Also, you can just visit recoveryanswers.org. Another wealthful place as far as information for these types of things go. But I did want to just kind of throw that in there and let you all see on your own. My comments have stopped scrolling. So see what, well, we're not medical. Yeah, here you go. Thank you. Thank you, Hattie. Well, we're not medical professionals. We can all be reached in the Discord as well. And we're more than willing to talk with anybody. As Gemma also, please drop a message to any of us, as she also reiterates or iterates. It's a wonderful tool, the Discord, and it's very easy. One of the things that sets the Discord, Annie, I think you were asking about it. One of the things that sets that apart from other social media platforms for me is the close. I don't want to say the community, but like the way we can get in touch with one another. It's very knit. It's a lot easier to get my attention or response on Discord than through 1,000 things on a Twitter feed. You know what I mean? So it's
you
more
can choose what you see. Yeah. It's you can have it so that like everyone can see, everyone can participate in the chat, and we have that often where like one of us or one of whoever in the group will start talking about something and other people can join in as and when. It doesn't have to be instant, but it can. There's the ability to do calls, video calls, which I know we were discussing at one point, maybe having a check-in video call every now and again. And there's also the option to send private messages to either one or multiple people. It's a good tool, and it's also as open or as closed as you want it to be. So like it is invite only, so you're not just going to get loads of random people like you do on Twitter coming in and like bombarding you with loads of crap that you don't necessarily want. But people can come in with that link, but obviously it is a zero tolerance group, and I think we've been quite lucky in that respect that we've not had much. I think we've only ever had to remove one person in the time we've had it on. Hey Tony.
Hey Tony.
See you. Hey Penelope. Are we teething?
Yeah, and we're a little sick. We have a runny nose, and we're just not feeling well. But she did good for the show.
Yeah, you can see she's teething. Rosy cheeks, bless her.
She loves this thing. This is like a little rubber.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up.
Just really quickly, if that's all right, the intro video that I run every week, like obviously there's Ella, my Bunny Valentine on there. There's my Thomas's charity thing. and there's Elena's book that she has. She was on the show as well. So if anybody has anything that they want me to pop on there, happy to support the community. Drop me a message. It runs every week before the initial intro to the show. So maybe we could put some other stuff in there. Any broadcasts or anything that's maybe the catalyst or something might could put that on. Maybe Ray's. Just send me some stuff and I'll pop them on because I'm wanting to give it a bit of a tweak. So yeah, drop me a message.
And Gemma, we thank you as always for the work you do on the intros and a lot of the technical stuff. Especially
I've got
these
some
past
stuff for
couple
the
weeks,
website to upload as well.
Especially these past couple of weeks, I haven't been able to be as active on the technical side of things.
I'm going to be not as. I mean, I've not been around so much lately anyway, but next couple of weeks I've got quite a lot on. Having a new bathroom put in from Monday, so lots of banging and braying. I'll be. And then we are going away for a few days. It's the school holidays on the week commencing the 13th. So
we will figure out the episode for the week of the 13th.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on the Discord. We'll let you know what's going to happen.
I've got to upload the timetable as well. We've planned the next couple of months worth of broadcasts, so I'll post that. I've just about finished it, so I'll upload those things in.
Right on. And as always, check out tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, Catalyst with Jim in Chicagoland, one of our favorite shows here on Twitch. I'm usually given a bottle before this one goes down for the night. Hoping to pop in tonight. Of course, we have our good friend Ray, who's a moderator here on the Mental Health Hour. He does his show on Tuesdays. I was lurking in his last night, this episode. So Ray of Sunshine is there in the chat. Please give him a follow, a like, a share. And also Gemma has just done some more Saturday cooking train broadcast. As they do once a month. Glad to see that that's still going.
Yeah, I've not been as live as much lately because all my stuff went bye-bye on my computers and I'm having computer problems. But yeah, I plan to be live again weekly very soon, hopefully.
Right on. And then, as always, for all things bunny, check out Ella, the Bunny Mom, our favorite sponsor on the Mental Health Hour, and a longtime supporter of the show. MyBunnyValentine.com. Use the promo code FireDude15 to save 15% on all your purchases. Help Ella save all the bunnies, right? Save all the bunnies. Alrighty, guys. That is it for this episode. If you'd like any further information on the 12-step program or what it's all about, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to engage in more conversation about it. It's a topic I'm very passionate about and know a good bit about now as I sponsor folks now and help them through work these steps. That being said, Gemma, do you have anything before we close her out? You good?
It's just the charity ab sale I said I was going to be doing. It's being rescheduled, so when I get a date I'll let you know, but I'll be broadcasting that as well. You know what an ab sale is, don't you? It's not a British thing.
Yeah,
that's fine. I didn't know because I was speaking to someone else about it and they didn't know what it was. So I thought, just check it's not another British word. Much like the spelling of this show, I put the promo out for it. PROGRMME. And I didn't know that you spell it different. So I tried to post it. I tried to post it on Instagram and it was having none of it. And I'm like, what's wrong? I know I'm spelling it.
Nonsense and rubbish.
So yeah, we spell the word program differently. So if anyone saw the initial one, it's not me not spelling right. It's actually British. Oh, my bunny valent. There we go. I have my bunnies on. You see, I
There
have
you
my
go. The bunnies. The bunnies. All right, guys. Great seeing everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're
Yeah.
gonna send it out, and we'll see you guys next week. I hope for another edition. If that does happen to be the week that you're out, no, I think that's 2 weeks from now. But we will update you in the Discord. So please keep posted, join the Discord, and we'll see you guys back here next week for another episode. Bye now.